Hi, I'm with Sophie Lindner and Joshua Berghardt from one of our presentations this morning, which is about the advanced development of new ballet shoes, but also many other products. And we're going to have a little conversation about some of the issues that were raised, but also to dig a little bit deeper into how you got to start and then where you're going to go in the future. So fantastic talk, absolutely. The area I didn't know anything about, so I was absolutely blown away with new information. The one thing that struck me was the incredible amount of waste that is in ballet shoes. And if you could just explain a little bit about exactly how many ballet shoes get used in a performance, but also then how many shoes that actually means disposed of.
So, I mean, like the highest waste is when like a professional dancer, let's say the soloist of Swan Lake or Nutcracker, dances a performance with 3 acts. So she needs 1 pair of shoes per act. So this is immense. And if you sum it up, for example, in Germany, there is a waste, point shoe waste of 113 million euros every year. So it's crazy.
Do they get recycled?
No, nothing at all. So like it's just like really like tons of trash.
Wow.
In front of the opera houses or like somewhere hidden. So I mean, like very famous dancers, they hand over their pairs assigned to fans.
Okay.
That's a thing. That's the recycling part, but nothing more.
Okay, there's still 3 sets per performance. That's still quite a lot of people get to take home a ballet shoe. So the other thing that was fascinating was that ballet shoes haven't changed forever. That there's been no reworking of them. If you think about apparel and footwear and the amount of changes that's gone on from Nike sticking some rubber in a microwave, no one's ever looked at this. So at what point did you think, I'm going to redesign this? This needs to be looked at. I mean, you had experience, I guess, from talking of using the old shoes. So how did that kind of come about, saying, let's have a crack at doing something that no one's ever tried to do before?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm a product designer, like that's what I studied. I was dancing ballet for about 14 years, like this is where my experience come from. And I somehow melded together 2 of my biggest passions 4 years ago. So when I did my bachelor thesis, I picked the topic of reinventing the ballet shoe because like as a product designer, your eyes are always taught to develop solutions for problems. And to me, it was super obvious that there's a need for change. And it wasn't the intention to put it on the market. It was just like my bachelor thesis and nothing more. And then I won the prize, the James Dyson Award, the second place in Germany. And that's the point where some people from the industry contacted me and asked, so, okay, cool, when can we buy it?
Wow.
I was, not yet.
So you didn't quite realize you'd actually stepped into a really hot area. Okay.
Exactly. And then like everything happened and developed further. And it came to like that we founded a company and like a team and funding and all those things. But that was not like the initial thought why I did
so this. You've done some kind of scoping. What's the size of the market? Is it millions of euros?
Yeah, so like for example, Germany, 113 million only point shoes.
Yeah.
But we want to also include the male dancers, which is new. There are many dancers asking us for point shoes already because it has been like such a female symbol. But now that thanks that things change, we can do this. And also like contemporary dance sports are now able, since the shoe is more flexible, to dance other kind of movements. And it's not only supposed to be for the classical ballet anymore. So this
the other thing worth mentioning at this point is the other shocking thing is that there's no left or right ballet shoes. They're all Uno foot. There's no real concept of that, but yours takes that into consideration. And then the fact that you're using 3D printing means that you can also, in the future, or I think you're doing it now, actually produce shoes specifically for a dancer's foot.
Yeah, we previously did it during the development, but it is not profitable to do so right now. So, but as we are implementing the 3D printing serial product itself. We're waiting to get the volume in printing that we can just seamlessly put it into production.
And you're with HP, who've got these huge machines. I went to Barcelona and saw when they released that kind of huge oven machine, which you just did a whole lot of dust. You can actually print in lots of different material properties into the actual material itself as well. So you can add flexible bits within it. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm guessing it's a natural partner for that. But what kind of material is it? I mean, it's not something I'm used to touching. It's kind of like quite a rough material.
Yeah, it is. Mainly it's TPU.
TPU, okay.
So it's printed by multi-jet fusion. And also this is, I think, where we have the main details of the texture from. So it is not really textural, like,
I mean, like the outer surface. That's what you just
I was
recognize.
like, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not. No one sees that because it's covered in a.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like.
But it's important. It's like also something, and that's amazing. What HP or like 3D printing offers here, like that you really are able to, get several different
materials in
one and surfaces, and it's important that it's like this roughly texture, so that it will stick to the other parts and not like be slippery in
So
the
this is
shoe.
a technical question, but when you're on point in your shoes versus the other shoes, comfort level, you have a really high score, but that means that there's less cuts and blood and stuff that we saw in the slides, or is it? Yeah, it's like wearing a pair of trainers to do that. Not quite.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of dancers who test our shoes say like, oh, it feels like being at home and very comfortable in like slippers.
Oh, right, okay.
And they were like, oh, can that be? So it is more comfortable, definitely.
And ballerina shoes have a very specific look, and I'm guessing tradition is very much an important thing. These don't really look like those sort of satin finished specific. So has there been any kickback in, not from dancers, but from people who organize things who want your shoes to look like, the old style?
Yeah, that's also an excellent question, because when we had our beta phase, also dancers were asking us, can it be like pink as well, or and that's something we really want to avoid, because we wanted to have like skin colors and like be more diverse in the future in this topic. But dancers are asking for it, but we have like a clear statement for it, and it's somehow like it doesn't fit our value to do everything like before and to let it look like before, because like we want to do the opposite, and it needs to look different.
It does look kind of different, because you see that the dancer's leg, it seems to just be a continuation, the skin color tone. It's just like
perfect.
So I actually didn't. It's a shoe you actually don't see. If you're far away from it, it'll look like it's actually their feet. Obviously, that toes.
That should be the aim, and in the classical ballet world, it's also the aim. So they color their shoes by like makeup and like color that it fits better the skin.
Okay.
And it's like an old beauty.
It's an ideal.
Yeah, beauty ideal that you have like such rose satin skin, light skin. But that's not anymore the case. Like things are developing.
Does anyone put on a production with all your shoes so that people can see it actually in a performance yet?
We're working on this.
Yeah.
So like we just launched our product mid of this year,
Yep.
officially now, and dancers are more and more getting the shoes, and we started our opera house tour. So we are now starting to prep opera houses with the shoes, so that they can get used to. Some also like take it as a training shoe. Some want to put them on stage, so it's diverse. But that's the phase we are now facing. So
because you might think that anybody who's got something negative to say about the tonal color of them, if they see it in a performance, then they're going to have more realistic opinion of how this looks from the audience's perspective.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. And so obviously you're using 3D 3D printed parts, but the actual material itself, that's still manufactured traditionally, or you don't print, you don't use don't use a robot weaving?
Like the knitted part, like
Yeah.
the outer
The outer
surface. Yeah. It's 3D knitting.
It is 3D knitted. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
so it's a knitting machine. It's not a roboter,
Yeah.
but it's like flat knitting in our case now. Like a lot of other sneakers are also made like
They're
this.
woven fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, where you really can combine compression zones, flexible zones, and that's so great. Like with the sole, so you can define where you want what functions with the same kind of material, like with the same.
So how many units can you produce currently? What's your kind of like run rate at the moment?
So like this year we produced 1,000 pairs. So we already started.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, the year is running late already. And we want to scale that up for the next years, of course, like double the sizes and the volume, and really get also a better feeling of, since we have a modular product, what part needs to be replaced first. And so we need to handle.
So it's still evolving, it's still a non-finalized product.
Yeah.
But then again, you're also, as you're going along, you're also chasing other areas where you're saying you want to do male shoes, and then specific shoes for individuals, so that's another kind of thing. And then we were just chatting about AI and potentially using AI to help you design specific parts, maybe for individuals or to do anything really. AI's got such a broad appeal. In the 3D printing side, are you actually using multi-material yet within the 3D printed parts? So you could reinforce and put ribbing, and you can put all sides. You could even put electronics in them. I mean, this is the crazy stuff for there. Yeah, sensors. That would be amazing. So that would be amazing, because then and then the electronics, you can actually put lights in them. The multi-jet fusion stuff is pretty crazy. So, so in terms of next beyond, so at the moment you're still really in beta. You're not really generating revenue from the sales so much of the shoes. You are, although you are selling them. How do you see this transitioning from kind of development to initial to scale? Is it going to be like a web shop where ballerinas order and then you just fulfill, so the whole thing's going to be automated? Is that the kind of future of this?
Yeah, so like we have a web shop already, and dancers can buy the several parts or like the product, but we really also found out that the first like in-person touch point is so important, because it's a new product. It looks so different than what was there before, and they are curious, like the dancers are curious, but they always ask, how should that work? How can that be? And they need to touch and feel and get into it, and then they're super convinced. So like we convert most of the dancers who like felt it on their own feet. But that's why we started with the opera house tour, to like bring the product to the opera houses in the beginning, and also started to have fitters in several areas. So in Germany, also in UK, like there's a new girl.
All right. So you've got individuals who you've hired to go and evangelize, I guess is the word.
Yeah, and they can then like meet dancers and show the product and get the touch and feel it. And of course, mouth to mouth will then help us to scale it up. But in the beginning, it's really important to gain credibility and trust to have those in-person touch points. That's what we just found out.
Fascinating. So what kind of software do you use to design this in? What's your weapons of choice when you come to designing and
different tools, mainly Rhino, and using Grasshopper for the parametric design, and then a lot of work is done by HP themselves to fit them on the design on the printers.
So you don't really use solid modeling applications, you use SolidWorks or anything. You literally are very mesh based. You're looking at surfaces.
Yes.
And then obviously you need an enclosed surface for the thing that's going to be 3D printed. So. Wow. Okay.
And
Yeah, I mean, it's a beauty of using Rhino or being able to not having a volume-based tool. Yeah, so
That's superb. Well,
nice.
I think it's brilliant. It was a great talk. Thank you so much.
thank you
Thank
too.
you for talking.
Thank you.
Cheers.